During the Depression, my aunt started buying up these vases from Tiffany's. So I guess she ordered some by the crate load.
On the side, it actually says Louis C. Tiffany Studios with an address. And the crate in itself, it's something you don't see very often, with glass plastered all over the sides. But I also want to point out the straw, because it's not often that people keep the shipping crates. So let's talk about what you have. The dates are very interesting because the first piece of glass over here, which is what we would call pastel glass, is later production Tiffany. It was made in the 20s, it was made in multiples, and it came in different colors. It came in pinks and blues and yellow and wisteria. These are the colors that you see in some of the Depression glass of the era, but this was a lot more expensive than your average piece of Depression glass. Now, this piece is a paperweight glass vase. Leslie Nash, who worked for Louis Comfort Tiffany, claims that while they were working with paperweight glass, Louis Tiffany himself, who was a painter, came into the glass working shop, handed them a painting of Morning Glories that he had painted and said, "I want you to make this in glass."
Wow.
Supposedly, it took $12,000 in R&D to create this kind of glassware. 1914 is when they first introduced it. Your piece on the bottom actually says exhibition piece on it. And I know from the date letter on it, which is a suffix L, that would be somewhere around 1915. So it's possible that this could have gone to the 1915 San Francisco International Exhibition.
Okay.
I think it came back to the studios. That's the interesting part. You may have seen vases like this. They're in many museums all over the world.
I saw one at the Met in New York.
Yes, and the one at the Met has a number on the bottom, which is 1130L. Yours is 1132L, so this is two numbers after the Met's vase.
Okay.
The Met acquired it in 1924, even though it was probably made in 1915. So these things still were sold later. So just to give you an idea of value, the crate in a retail setting, this is something for Tiffany geeks everywhere, collectors, museums. They would actually be very excited about this, and it would be worth between $5,000 and $10,000.
Holy cow.
This piece, which is not as sought after as some of the other art glass, would retail in probably between $2,000 and $3,000. But this piece, in a retail shop, it could be sold for anywhere between $50,000 and $75,000.
No way. Oh my gosh. I was thinking maybe 8 to 10. I was hoping. Wow.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Wow. I really didn't know what the market had done, you know, if it had gone sideways or up or down, but wow.
So there's one other thing in here that I want to talk about. This vase. This practically stopped my heart when I saw it in the box. This is the piece I was waiting for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And what I can tell you is every night before the Roadshow, people would always say, "What is on your wish list? What would you like to come into the show tomorrow?" And I always say, a Tiffany lava vase.
Wow.
And that's what this is. It's extremely special. It is meant to look like molten lava on the surface of the vase. And this one is particularly interesting because you also have these protrusions here. And it's very similar to a vase that was shown in the 1906 Paris Salon exhibition.
Oh.
A very similar example is in the collection of the Musée des Arts Décoratifs in Paris. And it's been there since 1906.
Gee.
So when I saw this, I was kind of excited. Well, the thing about lava is it was very hard to make. They get cracked in the making. And I did go over your lava with my special light and a magnifying glass, and I couldn't find any imperfections. An example like this in a retail shop could sell between $100,000 and $150,000.
Where's my brother? Wow, that's unbelievable. I had no idea.
I just can't believe that your aunt bought all of this in the late 20s and the early
Yeah.
30s. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.